everyone, and today we're gonna have a new podcast with a game writer, and this will be the first podcast of this year for your newsletter. And his name is Ahmad al Jabri, and he's a game writer, and he's really passionate about games and role playings. And welcome here with us.
Pleasure is mine.
So we're gonna begin with the questions, and first, what inspired you to be like a game writer or to enter the game world?
Well, I think we all grew up with make-believe games we were playing as kids and trying to pretend things that aren't there. So you could say that I did not grow out of it.
You'll never be too old to play a game.
Yeah, and it's a matter of fun. There are some people who enjoy walking, and there are some people who enjoy watching sports, and there are people who enjoy video games. So I found my passion in games in general, but I dove really deep with role-play games, especially when I found this game, Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, Dungeons and Dragons. Can you please explain to the audience, because maybe a lot of people, they don't know about this game.
All right. So if you speak English, you will most likely have came across the game in some form or the other through pop culture. It came on Community, it came on Simpsons, it came on, if you know, Stranger Things.
Stranger Things, the series, yeah.
Yes, it starts with the kids playing the game. And there are a lot of references to the game. The game has been part of the nerd and the geek culture since the 70s. It came out. So basically, it's a game where you sit down with your friends and you go on an adventure through the theater of the mind. You describe what you're doing and you try to live this adventure through the character you wrote down on a piece of paper.
Okay.
And the fun part about it, it's not just a one-time thing. We meet up, you continue with the same character and you go through the whole hero journey with it if you want. So we meet up once a week, and there are some groups even meet up 3-4 times a week.
So so speaking about this group, so how is it like going, and how people reacted to it, like in terms of in Saudi?
Well, the truth is nobody knew about it.
So you were the one who's explaining.
In fact, I was surprised that there were people who knew about it when I came across the game in person back in 2017 when first Comic-Con came in Jeddah.
Yeah, I remember.
And there were people.
Such a big fan of this.
Yeah, it's a big milestone for us.
Yes, true.
So I met a few people who share this interest to me, and I found out that there are people who play the game. Well, it didn't reach us in our culture because much like in the US, it happened to the game, something called the satanic panic, people thinking that devils are related to this game and all these things. And we came from a very religious history.
Yeah, so we don't believe in these things, but they do exist to a certain extent.
But in our culture, we don't want to approach such games. So it never really came here. And now with all those people, especially with the scholarships, are now coming back from abroad and bringing these new ideas.
So they are more exposed to more games. And okay, why this game in specific? Like,
I actually just happened to stumble upon the game. I wasn't looking for it. I was in Comic-Con and I found this beautiful art by someone, and I just loved it. And when I reached to the artist, and she told me about some YouTube channel, people playing this game, and I'm watching this, and I fell in love. So I found other games, and there are a lot of games for different tastes and different styles. For example, most of what's D&D about is medieval fantasy. But there are systems that allow you to go into something like Star Trek and Star Wars if you want to go to futuristic, and there are some modern settings. But for me, D&D there's so much history for it. This is the godfather of role-play games. This is the core game that is built upon most of the RPG games that we know, even video games today. They have some kind of it had some influence on most of the things that we know today. So I started playing it, and I enjoyed it so much, and I wanted to bring this game to most people and make it more accessible. If I dedicated my time on other things, it's fun, but it's not as fun as seeing someone who just doesn't know about it and sits down and
then
enjoys
yeah,
this.
and then learn it, and then the process of learning this game. Yeah, it's kind of fun. So is there any benefits of playing such game? Like, because a lot of people say that you know, usually games are not beneficial, like maybe it's a waste of time, it's just for fun. But what about the benefits? Because I believe any game can have a benefit on me, like even entertainment is a benefit, so, or other benefits. So what do you think about this game?
Well, in most in the game is already there out there, and there have been already studies and people are proving this. And there are people who are using D&D as a tool to teach kids.
Tool to teach kids.
So instead of just having them reading a book about some historical figure, they go on an adventure and meet this historical figure. It makes it more personal, more hands-on experience.
You can learn it and teach it better through fun learning.
So adding on, since I'm talking about kids, there are a lot of skills you can pick up from the game, because you have to, it's a cooperative game. You're playing with a group. You have to learn to communicate. You have to learn how to express what you want to do.
So you think this gonna, for example, this gonna increase the level of communication or the ability to communicate with others?
And not only that, it brings empathy into people's hearts, because first of all, you're not playing yourself. You're playing someone else, and you try to put yourself in that person's shoes. In another role. And you have to also be considerate of the people in the game that they're playing with you. And you have to find ways to express not yourself, but the character you're playing, what it wants to do, what it would do, rather than what you would have done in its place.
Okay, so I think maybe this can help if you are, let's say people who likes acting. So maybe role playing or trying to impersonate another character, this can help them in, you know.
There are a lot of people who are now movie stars and TV show hosts who had their childhood playing these games, like Stephen Colbert from the Late Show. There are a lot of people who are famous today who, because there's a lot of improvise in the game. I don't know what's gonna happen. I have an idea of that they will go and meet some band of goblins, but I don't know what they will do to overcome this obstacle.
What's they gonna look like? What's the series of events? So
let me give you an example of a scenario. Like,
give me an example.
One of the most common things is somebody from the village got kidnapped. So the adventuring party has to go and save this person who got kidnapped. So let's say the son of the mayor. Okay. So obviously they find the hideout of the bandits and the kidnappers. But I have, from my side, as the dungeon master, the person who's managing the game, I have a general idea that there's going to be so many bandits, the kid's going to be hiding over there. But what the players will do to achieve their goals is beyond me. They could just stand in front of the cave and just shout and threat them, tell them, we have an army. They're like 4 people, but they say, oh, we have an army here, you better surrender. And they might convince them. And
it's so funny.
It could turn into some sneaky spy kind of game, and they stealth into the cave and they find the leader of the bandits and they threaten him, or they go into a battle just crashing from one room to another. I have no idea what's going to happen.
So you're the one who's going to control the events?
I set up the events. Controlling them is beyond me. Nobody control it. It's just reactionary.
So you are the gamer, you're gonna experience some surprises.
Yeah.
That you have no control.
Even though I know the general story, I have no idea what's gonna actually happen.
This is so cool, because usually, even when I play a game, I like to seek like what's gonna happen. because if you know everything, if everything is predictable, there's no fun in it.
Yeah.
This is my opinion. So yeah.
There's another level to this, because in this game there are consequences. When you play a video game and you do something you shouldn't be doing, they will tell you
gonna
mission
lose.
mission failed. You start over from the last save point.
Game over.
But in D&D it doesn't go like that. If you do something,
By
you have
mistake.
to live with the consequences. No matter how small, like if you pickpocket from a passerby, or if you traveled for years until you finally face this powerful dragon that is trying to destroy the world,
You're
and
gonna
you
pay
failed.
the price.
If you failed, your character is dead. You start with a new character that is living in this new world that is ruled by this tyrant dragon. So the story doesn't really end. You just live with the consequence of your actions.
So this reminds me, even, you know, it can also, if you're a kid or anything, it can teach you like how your consequences can affect your life or affect
Yeah.
how.
And
Definitely.
this links back to empathy. You give whoever is playing the game a moment to live a circumstance that he might not normally live. If you want to put the question of the morality, a question of should we kill this person or not, you put it in a scenario that the people have to decide, what are we going to do here? This is a bad person. Should this happen?
Should we
Or
kill him or not?
should he go to prison? But he did so and so, and if they go one path, there are consequences. If they go another, there's different ones.
Speaking of morality, because I know a friend who plays like Warzone and Call of Duty, so I wonder, like, most of the games here, especially video games, they're full of violence and killing and stuff. So I feel like the people who are playing these games, maybe they don't have a lot of compassion towards others, you know. Like they do have, but you know, the more you play it,
The more you
the more you feel like
desensitized.
you are so numb to
Yeah.
killing, and you think like killing is normal. I should like fight because this is how life is. Or the
Dungeons
plane
and
you're talking about. It's nice to also question yourself, not just, you know, do one action because killing is the right thing to do. Because
It's not
this
violence is not the answer.
Violence is okay. Yes, violence is not the answer. Okay.
We actually have a term for people who go to violence. In the game, they call them murder hobos. So they spend the whole game just killing whatever comes across them.
Okay.
But it's a matter of the group. I mean, there are some people who they just want to play violence games. It happens, but it's not the nature of the game. There's a lot of aspects about it, like socializing. You have to interact with the people. You want to
So-
go to meet the king. You have to convince the guard to let you in.
So you can maybe gain life skills.
Yeah, there's a lot of game mechanics, but whenever a player just improvise something that is very creative and brilliant, we give them some edge in the game. Like if you say something really smart to convince the guard,
You can have a middle.
we call it advantage in the game. So you get a higher chance of convincing them.
Great. Very great. Okay, so you said you want to make this, since we don't have this game in the Arabic culture. Why do you want to put it in the, like here in Saudi Arabia or in the Arab culture? Like you want to introduce it? You think like we have a lack of these games, or it's just what do you think?
Well, we really have a lack of these games, and especially nowadays with everybody's playing video game, there's a disconnection between people. So you're just playing a video game. The closest thing to socializing is just playing with a friend who's in another place and shouting at each other, "Cover me, I'm going in."
Yeah.
But this is a game that brings people to the table. You sit down with your friends every week, face to face, and you go on an actual memorable life experience. You don't say, "Oh, I remember when my character faced off this person or that person." No, you remember it like, I remember when I went and faced the dragon, I managed to convince him that we are dragons that are polymorph.
So you can actually or vividly visualize it. So the message you're trying to give through this game, or to all the gamers who play this game.
Well, my message for the game itself in the Arab world.
Yeah.
Let's sit down and have some actual fun and get to understand each other. Try to put ourselves in new situation where we don't normally comfortably want to be. We don't want to live. We don't want to accept that someone else is different. So play a character that is absolutely different than you, and try to imagine what's it like being that character. Just bring some empathy.
Be open to new experiences.
My other goal with this is, I know we have a lot of creative people, and it saddens me that because people don't know the game, nobody's putting some creativity in it in Arabic language. And I want that accessibility for people. I want the people to see, okay, this is a platform you can write adventures on. If you are a creative person, you want to write some stories.
Some scenarios.
Yeah, and it's not, unlike when you read a book, it's a one-way street. You are receiving end from the author and you try to interpret it as best as you can. But for the game, it's happening live in front of you. It's evolving, you're changing the world that you're playing in. And this is something so unique and it's so beautiful. I absolutely feel so happy when I take an adventure and go through it and find these amazing plot stories and just bring it on the table with my friends and seeing them engage in it. So I want to give that opportunity to as many people as possible.
So you think it's challenging to make it in Arabic or translate it to Arabic?
No, not at all, because the game mechanics is so simple, it's so easy for anyone to go into. And I've been going through it for a few months now, translating the basics and the rules. Anybody can learn the game.
Yeah, but for example, like there are some definitions or like, let's say
terms that are specific.
Terms that are specific to English or does not exist in Arabic. So how did you find this? How did you were able to translate?
We kind of don't have a word for halflings. I mean, we have qazam, like a small
dwarf
person.
Is a qazam, yeah.
But that's not how it's interpreted in Western cultures. It's a lot of different species, I guess.
So how did you like?
So for these things, I just stuck with the original word. So an elf is an elf.
Elf. Oh,
yeah.
You like Arabicize it.
Yeah, localizing it, and whatever that I can put a proper word for it, I try to find. I'm working.
Do you look at dictionaries and search online?
I'm using dictionaries. I'm talking to a lot of people who are linguistic.
Expert in Arabic, yeah.
So try to find the appropriate word to describe something that is very uniquely mechanic to the game. So, for example, we have a ranger. In the game is somebody who is out in the wild and these things. We already have a proper Arabic word for it, jawal. But on the other hand, we have something called rogue, which is someone who is outside of the culture, outside of the norm. And I had to search until I found
there is an
actual word, maraq.
Maraq?
Yeah. I never heard of it until I researched it, and it gave me a lot of insight into Arabic languages as well.
Okay, so let's play. Let's try to make. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna play a game through a sound. So just do your own imagination.
All right, so I have been playing online with a group of friends who I've met online. All of them are from Sweden.
Okay.
And we play by voice since August 2017. We've been playing online.
Wow, that's
Until
interesting.
now, we're playing every Friday, almost every Friday. We had to skip a few ones, but we've been playing online every Friday, and we're mostly reliant on Theater of the Mind. But we have software that would allow us to use maps, and we can see where each character is going. All right, so
let's begin.
Right now, I gave you a character sheet.
Okay.
Which is basically the information that is related to the character in the game.
Okay.
So it's pretty much like when you play a video game, you start with the character creation.
Yeah, the hair,
So,
that's the most interesting part. Creating the character.
all right. So what I gave you here right now is a human,
Okay.
and you're free to name her whatever you want.
Okay.
And she is a noble.
Wow.
And
did you pick that specifically?
no, it was the. So she is a fighter.
Okay.
Meaning that her abilities relies on her tactics with weapons and training, and each.
Maybe physical strength.
It's not just physical strength. Like
So she uses weapons.
yeah. So there are different classes. Like we have the wizard, who is a spellcaster, can use magic, and we have a cleric, who is a different kind of spellcaster who gets their magic from the gods and the divine. We have different types of fighting characters, like a barbarian who gets his strength from his rage or his inner strength. Yeah.
Okay.
So this character is a fighter. Fighters tend to be disciplined. They have been, they learned their skills through training. Unlike a barbarian who learned it from practice, just going into battles and just figuring it out as he goes. They don't have the discipline of trying to train again and again. So so far, this information gives you some insight of her life so far.
Okay.
So she's a noble. So she grew up with
In a noble family.
noble family. They have connections and so on. So if you look here, we have 6 different abilities.
Strength,
Dexterity.
constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma.
All right. So these are the core data.
Characteristics.
Yeah, the core data for the character. So strength is the physical, muscular strength.
Okay.
Dexterity is your balance, your stealthiness, trying to be quiet, or your speed in reaction.
Get it.
Constitution is your health, how well you are able to withstand hits and punches, how well you are able to withstand poison and such situation and exhaustion. Intelligence is usually referred to as book smart. So the higher it is, the more you've read and studied. And it also relates to your rationale, ability to link information.
Rationality.
Yeah, linking information together. On the other hand, wisdom is more like street smart.
Street smart.
So if you're talking to someone and trying to figure out if they're telling the truth.
Like wise.
Yeah.
Wise, yeah.
And it also includes something like perception. Perception is being aware of what's going on around you.
Charisma is the one who has,
Charisma is
personality,
it's personality, social skills, and so on.
Okay.
So underneath the abilities, we have something called skills, which is this list here. So each character has some proficiency. She's better in doing things than she is in others. So, you know what? Let's give her a name. What do you think her name is? This human fighter of yours.
Let's say I like to pick weird names.
Go ahead.
So Delisa. Delisa. Let's name her Delisa.
All right. So let's now continue in the skills. So she has
Aerobatics.
proficiency in athletics.
Athletics, good.
So she trained with strength-related exercise. She did a lot of time in that.
Okay.
So she's not skinny. If you see, her strength is very high. So she's not skinny. She's
muscular.
She has a good muscular. Yeah. And then you have.
She's not
history.
History.
So she probably studied military history as a fighter, or maybe she studied history related to nobles because she came from a noble family. She has to know. You know how in our culture you have to know which, if you hear a family name, you need to know what kind of class they are and their background. So probably something that she picked up from her family. And what else we have? The proficient skills are the ones in black here.
So she's able to persuade.
Yeah, so she knows how to convince people. And what else?
Perception. So this is
Perception.
part of wisdom.
Yeah, so she's aware of what's going on. It's hard to sneak on her without her noticing. Let's go on.
Proficiencies, I like that. She has languages too, like Dwarfish.
Yeah.
Draconic, common.
All right,
What's a common language?
common, basically, if we're playing the game in Arabic, it's going to be Arabic language. If you're
Oh.
playing in English, it's going to be English language. That's common.
Draconic.
Draconic is the old dragon language, and it's
Okay.
so you can try to put some perspective. Like, why did she pick up Draconic? Why did she learn Dwarf? She knows how to use every kind of weapon. It doesn't happen so easily. So she has a lot of training. So you're starting to build a mental image of this. What did we call her?
It's just such a bizarre name. Delisa.
Delisa. All right. So on this side here, on the right side of the page, on the right side, you can find personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. These are role-playing. All right, so let me tell you about her. That is, in her backstory, she comes from a noble family, but there was a volcano that erupted and destroyed the region around it. So her family lost the wealth and position that they had. So now her goal, her personal goal, is trying to rebuild the legacy of her family, try to reestablish herself as a noble again. So she goes on this adventure, trying to meet new people, trying to.
Maybe she can overcome her resistance to.
So
That's
for
very
me, as a dungeon master, I will take this and put you in a moral situation where you could get a lot of money, but doing bad things. Nobody could know, but you're gonna get a lot of money out of it. So you would have to put yourself. Would she do that for money? But risk spoiling.
For me,
her.
I wouldn't do that.
Of course. So, but this is you're trying to put yourself in a different person's situation.
Like, is she really thinking?
Yes,
It's her.
It's her. Is
Yes.
this path worth it for
The
her?
right thing or not?
So
I think that's like we can spend long hours playing this game.
We haven't even started. We're just talking about how awesome your character is. All right, so. The game relies on this dice. It's called a D20, a 20-sided die. And whenever you want to do something in the game, we roll the die and see whatever the number and add the modifiers related to it. So for example, if you're trying to convince the guard that you're a noble, but you just came from travel and you look a little bit dirty, so he's not going to listen to you. So you try to persuade him. So what we do is you roll a D20 and you add your persuasion.
Roll a D20.
Yeah, so roll
Where's
it.
D20?
This is it. So just roll the dice.
Okay.
Alright, so what do you get?
5.
Plus your persuasion
Okay, 3 plus 5 is 8.
is 8. So that's the total you got. That means now I'm the dungeon master. I put the number. Now we try to role play what happened. You came in and you tried to convince the guard that you need to see the king for important business. But he looks at you and see how dirty your clothes from the travel, and he tells you, I don't know you. What do you think you can just come in here and ask to meet with the king? Go away. So this is what happens, how the game works. If you rolled high, the guard would realize maybe you're covered in dirt, but he can see that you're carrying yourself like a noble, and would judge that maybe it's better I should let her meet the king. So the game is basically like that. You roll a die and compare it with a number. If you succeed, we role play that.
Of your skills.
So you add this to the die, and the number you compete with is with the dungeon master.
We have a background idea, and even maybe the listeners can have some clue about it, and maybe join your game nights if you have one.
So I have a website called D20 Arabia.
D20 Arabia, okay.
And I'm starting to post lessons and articles how to play the game, simplifying the rules and so on.
Okay.
And we have a community here in Jeddah, Riyadh, and we have people all over Saudi Arabia and outside of Saudi Arabia as well.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for Ahmad Al Jabri, and it was a pleasure speaking to you on this podcast.
Pleasure is mine.
Okay, thank you very much.